are you? It's good to be with you again. Welcome to the Ken Simmons Show. Thanks to Area 58 Community Access Media. I'm on the air. I'm Ken Simmons, by the way. Going to take, I scan the papers to do this monologue and the TV and the radio, and I talk to people. That's no good news. It's all bad news. So I decided to bring you just a little bit of good news. What I saw yesterday on my lawn, you're not going to believe. About a half a dozen robins. When I was a kid, that was a sign of spring. Maybe it's coming. Never know it by today. It's what, 60 or 70 degrees below zero? It's warmer in Alaska than it is here. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought it was something to say. The good news is this. I think this COVID thing is going to die down by itself gradually. By the end of this month, or the first of next month. See if I'm right. Remember that. Also, in about 3 or 4 weeks, spring training for the Boston Red Sox. How about that? That's only 3 or 4 weeks away. I can't wait. My favorite sport, baseball. But another favorite sport, football, we're almost to the Super Bowl. We're almost to the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll be in it, maybe we won't. But Super Bowl is one of the greatest shows in sport. And I can't wait. I always watch the Super Bowl. I don't always watch a football game, but I watch the Super Bowl. I have a guest today. Interesting, great, as always. All my guests are great. And I've told you in the past that the guests that I have, I don't want to know them, I don't want to talk to them before we get before the cameras. I want to meet them and greet them along with you. I like the spontaneity of a guest that I don't know and you don't know, and we'll learn about them together. I happen to know this lady. I don't know her well. We're not social buddies or anything like that, but you'll see what I'm talking about when you finally get to meet her. I'm giving you a little tease right now, but maybe this will give you a hint. I heard a story the other day. It was about a couple that wanted to get married, and they went to the town hall. The judge was there, and he was just about to go home. The town hall was just about to close. And he said, "Judge, could you stay? We want to get married. Would you marry us?" He said, "Have you got a license?" "No." "Okay, go over to the town clerk and she'll get you a license." Went over to the town clerk, got a license, came back. The judge looked at it and said, "This is wrong. It's the wrong date. Take it back and tell her that." They did, came back again. He said, "The date's okay, but the names are in the wrong place. The bride's name is where the groom should be, and the groom's name is where the bride. Take it back and tell her to fix that." This went on 5 different times that he sent them back to fix. And finally, on the 6th time, he read it and he said, "It's okay. Everything's all right. She did it right this time." And he said, I'm sorry that I had to go to all this trouble, but if you got the wrong license, if there's anything wrong with the license, that means your marriage is illegal. And if you have a child, he would be a technical bastard." And the groom said, "Gee, that's just what she told you." All right, let's go meet my guest. I told you a story. Let's go meet my guest. I'll be right back. Take off your shoes, pour yourself your favorite beverage, and I'll be right back. Hey, we're back, and I'm happy to be back. I'm going to introduce you to my guest in just a minute. Before I do, I have to tell you that she's a town official, and when she first got elected, I set up an appointment to do an interview with her on TV, and which is something we always do with somebody that's new in office. And she agreed to it. I don't think she was happy about it because being a newly elected official in the job she had she had a lot on her plate. But she did agree to an interview until the day of the interview when her horse died. Now, those of you who love animals like I do and like she does, that's devastating. If it happened to me, I wouldn't be able to talk. I'd be crying. I have a little toy poodle, 16 years old. She's been with me for 16 years. And she's my best friend. She doesn't see good, she doesn't hear good, her teeth are gone. But she still does everything she used to do, except slower and not so often. So with that in mind, with the fact that you know that we were going to do an interview that we never did, we're doing it now, and I'd love to introduce you to, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Carver's Town Clerk, Cara Dayhill. Did I pronounce that right, Cara?
Yes, you did. Hi, Ken.
Is it Dayhill?
Dayhill.
Not Dahill.
In Ireland, they pronounce it Dahill. But
Really?
In the States, it's Dayhill like Cahill.
I'll be doggone.
Yeah.
How about that? And I did it right.
You did. You did. You do everything right.
It's good to see you.
Nice to
Happy
see
to
you,
have
too.
you here.
Oh.
How long have you been town clerk?
This will be my third year.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm up for re-election, and I love my job.
Okay, we'll get into that a little
Yeah.
bit. Do you like being town clerk?
I love it.
It's a tough job.
It is a tough job. It is a tough job.
Do you have to go to school? Do you have to go to classes?
Oh, gosh. Well, it's funny that you should say I just received my town clerk certification. So I'm now a certified municipal clerk, and that took me almost the 3 years to complete. So this fall, I was honored to receive a certificate and a plaque, and a lot of congratulations from my peers. And the Carver Reporter did a little story, and it's a lot of work. But I feel that I'm the better for it, and I can better serve the town now that I have that educational background. And I'm going to keep going. I can become a master municipal clerk.
Really?
So I will, take probably another 3 years to achieve that.
And you're young enough to do that.
I'm going to keep going.
Good for you.
Yeah, knowledge is power. You should always keep learning. Always.
Let me get off that subject. It's way back in my mind. I heard that they were not going to elect a town clerk, but appoint a town clerk. Did that ever go anywhere?
No, some towns do that, and that would have to come to town meeting and be voted on. But as an elected official, I'm here for the people. I'm your person. I'm your representative.
Well, what bothers me, Cara, if somebody appoints my town clerk, and I think that's a very important job, by the way, if somebody appoints them, who's going to do the appointing? And for what purpose? Do they have an agenda?
They could.
But when you get elected by the people, there is no agenda. Some people like you, some people don't like you, some people think you're not efficient, other people think you're super efficient, like I do. And so I hope they never do that here in Carver. I've known a lot of town clerks. When I lived in Randolph most of my life, we had various towns. We had one lady, whose name was Joan Ward.
Okay.
And I was a kid, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, when I first met Joan Ward, the town clerk. She loved kids, by the way. And so from there, from 10 years old till I graduated high school, till I got out of the service, when I went to Korea, came back and got married, she was still town clerk.
Isn't that great?
That's a long, long time. So we got to be quite friendly because I did television in Randolph, and she was on my show quite often. I loved her. I still love her. And she came on one day, and we were doing the show like we are now, and she said, "I have a scoop for you." I said, "Oh, you're pregnant?" And she says, "No, I'm going to retire."
Oh.
I said, "You're going to retire? Who's going to be town clerk?"
Yep.
"You're the town clerk. You can't retire." And so that was quite a shock. It was quite devastating.
I bet.
But she was tremendous, and the people loved her. She used to get over her voting all the time was a landslide.
Right.
So, are you married? Let's get into a little personal life.
Yes, I'm married.
Okay.
This year I have been married 19 years.
19 years.
In February.
Children?
I have a son that graduated. He's 18, and he graduated in 2021 from Carver.
What's his plans for the future?
Oh, he wants to go off to do heavy equipment operating. So
Okay.
fingers crossed. He's applied for an apprenticeship with Local 4, and hopefully he's accepted. If not, I'm sure whatever he does, he'll do well.
Well, that's
He's a
great.
good boy. He's a hard worker.
May I ask what your husband does? You don't have to answer that.
He's
but-
a helicopter pilot in town. Yeah, so for the last 33 years, we've had a helicopter business. He's getting ready to retire, though. He's had a good run, and I'm just kind of sad for him because that
33
was his
years?
passion.
33 years
33 years.
Here in Carver?
Here in Carver.
at the airport.
No, we were off airport. We had a hangar down on Route 58 towards the Wayham line, and we just sold that this year, and now he is at the airport. But the cranberry industry isn't what it used to be. That's primarily what
Yeah.
his function is, and I think it's probably a good time to step away from it. But he did teach my son to fly, so that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And, kind of been a local institution for a while with helicopters. So
That's I think that's exciting.
yeah, it is.
A helicopter pilot. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only time I ever rode in a helicopter was in Korea.
Oh, okay.
Picking
yeah.
up the wounded and all
Yeah.
that kind of.
Yeah.
And that was a helicopter pilot. You know, when I first moved here, my wife was alive, and I went down to the airport. I forget the name of the guy now. It wasn't Dale. I said, I would like to go to Nantucket for New Year's Eve, but you have to take us there, wait for us while we eat. I'll pay for your meal, by the way, and then take us home. How much is that going to cost me? I forget what it was now, but it was way over my head. Way over my head. He said, you realize we're going to store it down there? I got to pay the hangar fees down there, and the gasoline, and what it takes to fly it, and my labor, and coming back. And he said, but it's a great idea. I love the idea because I'm going to take my two kids and their wives and myself. And he said, well, right away we've got a problem because my helicopter isn't that big. It won't take 6 people.
Isn't that something?
So
Yeah.
you're going to run again.
Oh, of course. Yes. Yeah.
April is election.
April 23rd is election day.
Now that we've got the election word out, can I ask you, and you don't have to answer these questions, by the
Okay.
way, how do you feel about Trump's assertion, the big lie, that he is really the president and Biden is not? Because I know what it takes
Yeah.
for you town clerks to go. Election day is a very busy, chaotic day for you.
Well, the last 3 years were. I don't get into the politics. We stay, as clerks, as neutral as we can be. I'm unenrolled. I walk a very fine line right down the middle, and I can't comment on that, unfortunately. All I can say is that I hope with the upcoming primary that, we do well and we have some change and people restore their faith in the voting process. That's the biggest thing for us. We want people to feel safe. I'd rather see election day than election season. So that being said, I would like to know that at the end of that night, which is usually a 17-hour day for us,
I'm
that all
sure.
the ballots are in and that we have them, that we don't have to wait a week afterwards to tally. And we'd like to be just, know and be done with it.
Yeah.
That's the fruition of what we've just done. So we'd like to see that final.
You haven't answered my question, though.
No, I haven't.
What do you think about Trump?
What do I think about it?
No, I mean the election.
The election?
He claims that he is still the president.
Well, I haven't really followed that. But in Carver, President Trump won. He came out on top. in
Did
our
he?
presidential race in Carver. I can only speak for my own town.
Of course.
And I can only speak for, my town as far as, how an election is carried out. I'm sure there's some places in the country that, had its, rough spots with that election, but I know in our town we didn't. So.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel about mail-in ballot?
Wow, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And that was a huge undertaking. But with a pandemic going on, we had to have that. We had to have that. And I know some people don't think it's popular, but I do think we're going to see an increase in people voting, which is great.
Yep.
Because now it's very easy. You really have no excuse not to. So when
That's
you
true.
can request one and get it in, as long as it comes back in time, your ballot's going to be counted. So it's a huge uptaking for us. I have a wonderful assistant, by the way, Donna, and the two of us, we just put our heads down and we went to town and we got them all done.
But don't you think it leaves itself wide open for fraud?
Well,
Some people would put mail in 2 or 3 ballots.
we have a very, very careful system. When they go out, we know who they're going out to, and when they come in, and you can't have it. They're scanned back into our system. So you really can't. The biggest fear with that is that a person might try to come in and vote in person as well as doing that. And we have a list that's printed off in the 12th hour.
Never thought of that.
And we know who has already sent in a ballot and who hasn't. So they're just turned away that day and said, I'm sorry, we already have your vote counted. Your vote's already been counted.
Good for you.
So we
Yeah.
do have a system for that. And I think the public needs to know that, because if you watch the news, sometimes you could feel that that's a problem and not have faith in the system. But people should have faith in it. We make sure nothing goes astray.
I'm going to drift away from the subject for just a
Okay.
minute. I'm at my age. I'm very concerned about losing our democracy.
Yeah.
Things look so different to me. You have to realize that I've lived through a lot of presidents.
Yeah, you have.
And I've always seen arguments and differences of opinion. That's fine. That's great. But when somebody wants to become an autocrat instead of a democrat, or have a democracy instead of what we've got, I think it's bad.
Yeah.
At my age, I shouldn't worry about that. It's not going to bother me probably, but I do worry about it. It's my country. I love my country. I love the people in it. Every time I go to the town clerk's office, every time, I'm treated like a king. They act like they're glad to see me. Where have you been? I get that feeling. I come out of there feeling like $1 million.
Well, you should.
Now, thanks to you, but before you, was it McGillicuddy? I felt the same way. I'm not that nice a guy. So when they treat me that way, they must treat everybody that way.
Yeah, we try.
So that's really nice. Thank
That's
you so
good.
much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Are you going to run a campaign for your re-election?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very busy working. There hasn't been a day in the last 3 years that I have not been busy. So to the extent that I can, I will. You won't see me out in front of Rockland Trust every day waving.
No.
I simply can't.
You haven't got the time.
No, I don't have the time.
But just bear this in mind, that this place is available to you
Oh,
if you
thank
want to campaign here.
Oh, thank you.
Just bear in mind also that if you come on, we have to give equal time to any of your opponents.
That's true.
So, but I just, I love politicians, and I love politics and what they do for us. How do you run a home and a business that you're in, town clerk, where you're so busy? That must be a very strenuous.
My family, it was a good time for me because my son was raised enough, grown enough that he didn't need his mom day to day.
Yeah, that's
and my
true.
husband has always been really really good at helping. During the pandemic, we started to get HelloFresh. Makes life so much easier. It's a box of food with the recipe card, and my husband's a really good cook. Not the greatest at cleaning, he's getting there, but he's a big help. So it's like a pit crew. I have my pit crew. They all chip in to help Mom. I still do the laundry and stuff on the weekends, of course,
Oh,
but it's worked really well.
That's
They
great.
support me, which is great.
That's
On
great.
election day, my husband's out running to get the coffee and the donuts and the lunch and bringing it all there. I don't have to worry about that. It's lovely. It really is.
That is
Yeah.
super, super,
Yeah,
super.
It is. It's helpful.
Is this your first shot at public office?
It is. It is. Prior to that, we were really busy. That was a growing business that we had. And my husband had a partner he started out with, and the partner left about 10 years in. And, what could he do? So I stepped up and I took over the roles. I totally ran the place and helped him. And if he needed a ground crew member, I would leave my office, change my clothes, and I'd be out there underneath that helicopter. Whatever we had to do to keep going, we did. And
Have you got a pilot's license?
no, I don't. But I can fly. I can get the helicopter into a hover. I can take off and I can land.
You can
but
really?
But I never desired to. That was never one of my passions.
Oh,
That's
does-
my husband's.
Does your
not
husband
mine.
have a straight wing license?
He has everything but a hot air balloon and a glider. Yep, he can fly a 747 if he has to.
That's great.
He's got them all. But that's his passion. That's his thing. So
Has he always done that?
always, ever since high school, he left, went down to Emory-Riddle in Florida, went to school, did his thing, came back up here, started flying out of Plymouth, and had been flying the cranberry bogs ever since. So he's been flying forever.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been flying for a very long time. Our son wanted to do it. We kind of dissuaded him. Not, please don't. We'd rather have you on the ground. But he's a good pilot too. He really is.
Has he got his license?
No, he
No.
doesn't. We didn't pursue.
Why don't you want him to fly for a
It's
living?
very dangerous.
Yeah.
He's the only one I have,
Yeah.
just knowing how dangerous it is and how many people we've lost over the years, good friends. We count ourselves as lucky being able to walk away from it.
Yeah, 33
Yeah.
years is kind of pushing your luck
Yeah,
a little
it
bit.
is. And I think he felt that way every morning when he got up, So I'd rather have them safe. And I told him that's success. Success is being able to end something on your own terms. And,
Yeah.
And,
When will he retire?
well, he's kind of semi-retired right now.
Right now?
Yeah, he's semi-retired.
What's he going to do when he retires? He's obviously too young
Yeah.
to be retired.
Well,
Will he run for public office?
I don't think so. No.
Wouldn't it be funny if he ran for town clerk?
Oh, yeah, I don't think he would be able to do that. I don't think so. It takes a lot to be town clerk. I wouldn't have been able to carry this off if I didn't have help. When you were telling the story about your former town clerk, I was very lucky that I was able to get a couple of really great mentors. The town clerk in Rochester was retiring. It was my luck that she retired when she did. She was the town clerk for 34 years.
Oh, wow.
So she came to help me when I needed someone.
Oh,
I was in
wow.
that office all by myself for a period of time, and it was scary.
See, I'm so glad you said that because I
Yeah,
wondered
yeah.
how the devil,
Yep,
a young lady like yourself,
yep,
with no experience,
yep.
could step into a town
I've
clerk's.
got some wonderful mentors. And there's a gentleman from Milton, Mr. Mullins. He came down to help me too. The town clerk in Kingston, the sitting town clerk in Kingston came to my aid. There were people that I could call that if I got stuck on something that would come there for me. So we have a really, really close group and we support each other.
Isn't that
And
great?
that's a great thing.
That's-
And that's where you derive your knowledge. You have tons of knowledge. You've been here for a while.
I have.
You sit down and talk to you, and you're a better person for it with the knowledge that you have. So I look at people as assets, and you need to tap those assets and get some of their knowledge and exchange ideas, and that's how we grow, and that's how we move forward. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You've got a good philosophy, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
well.
The Joan Ward that I was talking about, town clerk in Randolph, when I was much, much younger, when she got elected, the men in town would have nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Because in those days, if you're a woman, you stay in the kitchen, you make cookies, you have babies,
Right.
and that was it.
Right.
Today, thank God, it's different. Women are contributors
Yep.
like men never were.
Right. Yeah.
I shouldn't say that because some guy's going to punch me right in the mouth. But I feel that way. I feel that women contribute so much, and I don't know how they do it. I was a hairdresser for most of my life.
Oh, wow.
A hairstylist.
Oh, okay.
When I say hairdresser today, the guys look at me and say, "Can you give me a haircut?"
Yeah.
I said, I never cut men's hair. I don't know how to cut. I
Yeah.
don't have a barber's license.
Yeah.
I have a license in cosmetology.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was a study of the female, I want to say body, but there's a better word than that. Not, just for massages on the neck, the head,
Okay.
recognizing certain diseases, and being able to recommend a physician for them, not to
Okay.
treat them yourself. Alopecia was a big thing when I was in the business. And I got involved with Ava Gabor.
Oh, wow.
You remember that name?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Green Acres?
Yes, the Gabor sisters.
And she came to our office, not to see me, she didn't know me. She wanted to get into the wig business.
Okay.
Because that's what we did. I sold Canicolone. Canicolone was a fiber, a synthetic fiber that went into women's wigs and hairpieces.
Okay.
And so they needed hairdressers like me to promote that. And I was promoting it. We did a very good job with it. And she came into the office and said, "I would like to go into the wig business with my name." And I heard her and I come over and I said, "You look familiar." She said, "Thank you, darling."
Oh.
I said, "Yeah, Ava Gabor." I said- And then she told me about her sister. She had two sisters, Jaja, and there's Ava, and there was Magda.
Okay.
And then there was Mama Jolie,
Okay.
who was just as wild as they were.
Oh, wow.
I got to tell you a story. Ava said to me, Jaja, who was a glamour girl, evening gowns, diamonds, rubies, hairdos. She was Ava says to me, "My sister, Jaja, is the best housekeeper in the world."
Okay.
I said, "Jaja, a housekeeper? With her gowns and all?" "Oh, yeah," she says. Of course, you have to remember she was married 7 times. She said, "Yeah, every time she gets a divorce, she keeps the house."
That's funny.
So that was an exciting time in my career. We're going to take a little break now because I'm getting a little hoarse,
Okay.
and we'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I got to tell you a quick story. I was talking to Rich, who is the executive director here at Area 58, and one heck of a nice guy, and a great cameraman, and a good businessman. And he told me to say that, so I hope you got the message. But I was talking to him about when I was a young kid, starting first grade. My father taught me how to read before I went to school. And the first book I ever read was The Stallion. It was about a horse. No, it wasn't The Stallion. It was Black Beauty. That was the name of the book. And I read that from cover to cover before I went to the first grade. Can you imagine that?
It's a good story.
So when I get into the first grade, and there they teach you how to read, and they have these books called See Dick Run, See Jane Run, and all that. And that was such a bore to me. And the teacher said, "Simmons, you look bored." I said, "Yeah, I am. This is not my cup of tea." "Oh," she said, "You know how to read, do you?" I said, "I do, yes." "Oh, really?" So she gave me a book. "Read that." So I read it word for word. And she said, "My God, I'll make a long story short, I was promoted from the first grade to the second grade
Wow.
within a couple of weeks.
Wow. Good for you.
So I said, this is a waste of time for you.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I've enjoyed talking with Cara Dahill, the town clerk of the town of Carver. She's running for office again. We don't recommend or endorse anybody or any product or anything here. We leave that up to you. You don't need me to tell you you should vote for her. You know you should vote for her. Or you should not vote for her. That's up to you. But I'm going to turn it over to her now before we close out and let her talk to you for a few moments. Cara, it's all yours.
Thanks, Ken. So the one thing that I'd like everybody to know is that we're going to have a number of offices open, positions open. I'm going to read those off to you right now. Starting February 1st, the public can come in and take out nomination papers for these offices. They have to get 50 signatures. We recommend that they get at least 60, if not more, as many as they can. And then our office certifies those. And we let them know if they've been accepted as a candidate. And our local election is going to take place on April 23rd at the Carver High School. We still only have 3 precincts. The elected offices that are going to appear this year on the ballot are the Board of Assessors. There's 1 seat for a 3-year term. Board of Health, there's 1 seat for a 3-year term. Library trustees, we have 2 seats for a 3-year term and 1 seat for a 2-year term, which is filling for someone who's moved away. We have the North Carver Water District Commission, 1 seat for 3 years. Planning Board, 1 seat for 5 years. Redevelopment Authority, 1 seat for 5 years. The School Committee, 2 seats for 3 years each. Select Board, 1 seat for 3 years. And then the Town Clerk, myself, 1 seat for 3 years. And if anybody needs more information, they can always reach out and contact me. Phone number at the Town Hall is 508-866-3403. I'm available to answer any questions at any time. I don't know if people know this or not, but the town stopped using, having a notary service. But I'm a private notary, and I wanted the residents to know that I'm always available to help them if they need something.
No
I'm
more
also-
notary service?
No, but I'm a private notary, so I do them myself.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm also a justice of the peace. So
Oh, no
you had
kidding.
talked about that before.
Yeah.
So there's some one-stop shopping. They can come in and they can do their marriage intentions, and then 3 days later,
Oh,
as
that's
soon as
great.
3 days later, they can be married.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
we did that all throughout the pandemic. We married people and went out to the parking lot and married people and just tried to help people the best that we could.
Oh,
because
that's
it was
terrific.
a really difficult time for everyone.
That's what a great town this is. What a. Did you read off selectmen? Is there a
Yeah,
selectman?
there is 1 seat for selectmen.
1 seat
Yep.
for selectmen. Okay. That was helpful information.
Yeah, there are also, I just wanted to let people know too, we have 3 elections coming up. So we have our local election in April. In September, we'll have a state primary, and then the general election in November. So it's going to be a really busy 2022.
Yeah.
Really busy.
Yeah.
And if anyone can't get out to vote, absentee ballots, they just need to fill out an application, and we'd be more than happy to provide an absentee ballot for them.
Can you get an absentee ballot if you're handicapped?
Yes, you can.
Or do you have to be out of town?
You can be out of town, you can be handicapped. There's such a thing as a permanent absentee for those that are housebound. They can get a letter from their doctor and send it in, and then they don't have to worry. A ballot's always mailed to them.
So anybody can vote. Anybody.
There's no excuse not to.
No excuse not to vote. No excuse not to vote. Let's make this a big year. Let's have a 50% turnout.
Oh, that would be great.
Man, I'm asking for the moon.
You're asking for a lot.
But wouldn't it be great?
Yeah, it would. Town meeting, too. I need to say something about that
Go
because
ahead.
so few people come. Our last town meeting was only attended by about 87 individuals.
Is that a quorum?
Out of a town, quorum is 75. We just made it by the skin of our teeth. But with almost 12,000 residents in town, it would really be nice if more people would come. One of the things that I'm trying to implement are handheld voting devices, so that when you're sitting there, you're able to vote yes or no on an article. The article will come up behind the moderator on a screen. They'll be able to read it, and they can very comfortably vote. There's no more raising the hand or shouting out aye.
Wouldn't that be great?
It's something that I put into my budget, and I hope it passes.
Sounds expensive.
It's not really. About $9,000 for 300 units that will last us for about 10 years.
Wow.
So I think for the money, it's money well spent. And if it increases our numbers at town meeting, I'll be happy to see that.
Do the quick math on that. $9,000 is $900 a year.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah, and the
That's
price
nothing.
is two 18-cent batteries, watch batteries,
Oh.
to maintain them. So
What happens to them? Do you keep them? Or
I
they
keep them. I keep them. Yeah, they're accounted for. You
How
sign
do you feel
in with
about a
them.
town meeting member instead of town meeting?
The open government that we have right now, I like our old-fashioned open government. I do like that, but this is just moving us ahead with the handheld devices. It's just making people feel comfortable, making sure that their voice is heard and their vote is heard. Because in a system where, you have to hand count, it's very difficult. It's also really difficult to get volunteers to come and help with that. No one wants to stand up there and count people anymore.
I know, yeah, I know.
It makes it hard. Even if there's only 87 people in the room, it's still a challenge.
That's awful.
So.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the matter with you people? This is a very, very important year, I think.
It is.
In our democracy, in our government, in our country. I think you should get out there and do what you need to do to keep this country going the way you want it to go, not the way somebody else wants it to go. You can't, like they say, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the game. I'm begging you, get out there and help us keep our democracy. All right, Kara, I can't thank you enough for giving up your time to come here.
Oh, thank you.
You're not only a pleasant person to talk to and very charming, but quite pretty, if I may say so.
Thank you.
You're not supposed to say that anymore, Not supposed to say it, especially to the town clerk. Anyway, I appreciate her coming. I appreciate your viewing. I hope you get as much out of this as I did. She's very, very articulate. That's a good word. I couldn't get the word anatomy, but articulate is a good word. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Put your hands out from in front of your face.
Okay, I'm going to end the show here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you the next time. Until then, this is Ken Simmons for Area 58, Community Access Media, saying so long. Keep a song in your heart. I'll see you later.